Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
You are about to listen to the Totally Super Awesome 80s Reboot Overdrive podcast.
This podcast is our fan tribute to the Incredible Hulk TV show. Be advised that has been exposed to radiation and we caution to listen at your own risk. You have now entered GammaCast.
And welcome to the GammaCast. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me as always is my skinny rich friend.
It's Mozz.
Hey, Mozz. Always glad to have you. Tonight's episode, Long Run Home, Season 3, Episode 15, first aired February 1st, 1980. Directed by Frank Orsatti, written by Alan Cole and I believe it was Chris Bunch. That's who got the written by credit. This is a very fun episode because the actor who plays Doc, Mickey Jones, this is his second of 3 Hulk appearances. And actually, he was, just to give you a range on the guy, he was the mentally slow brother of the race car driver in Ricky. So he starts off his first appearance on the Hulk is as Ricky in the episode Ricky. He then goes on to this one where he is Doc, where he is a biker. And then he's going to be on in 81 as George in the episode Triangle. People may also recognize him from the TV series V, where he played... Sorry, I jumped ahead to the wrong one there. V, where he played... Let me find him here. Chris Farber. He actually was recurring in the V miniseries and part 2 and 3 of the V miniseries, and again in 3 separate episodes of the V TV series. He was in Misfits of Science as Arnold Beefnighter in Deep Freeze. Oh, the pilot. Yes. For those of you who never saw Misfits of Science, I feel sorry for you. And
that was the old show where the guy would put his hands together and like concentrate, and his hair would fly back, and he could like zoom to another spot, right?
No, what he could do. Well, there was 3 different parts, 3 different roles. One of which was played by Courtney Cox, who was the psychic. She was the what do you call it? Telekinetic. You had Johnny B. Good, who had. He could discharge electricity from his hands.
Right, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, and you also had another guy who could shrink himself. He was very tall, but he could shrink himself down to like 12 inches high because he felt being so tall was bad. And you also saw him as, and then you also had a scientist guy in that. But loved Misfits of Science, was like on for half a season. It was awesome though. But you see this actor and you recognize him immediately. He was in the in '88. He was in the TV series Something Is Out There. It was a miniseries as Arnie McEwen. Of course, he's been on Dukes of Hazzard. You just look at the guy, you know that's the guy from Dukes of Hazzard. And yeah, so I'm sure everyone recognizes him for a reason. Oh, he was a reoccurring actor on the TV series Flow, which was the spin-off from Alice, which followed Flo, and he played Chester. So there we go. That's Mickey Jones, great character actor, and is up there with Gerald McRaney as a guy who has multiple different roles on the Incredible Hulk. So That's pretty awesome. Okay, so let's get into what this episode really is about. We open up with the biker gang, the Barbarians. They have this. It's kind of interesting, when you think about, again, like we mentioned, where things sort of have these things that sort of tie into issues that are still out there today. You have these criminal this criminal biker gang, the Barbarians, who are going to be trafficking in these illegal weapons, weapons that fell off the back of a truck.
Right.
Pure hammer tech, I'm sure. So that and that's interesting. But of course, as they're getting ready to do this, to make this deal, the FBI shows up and basically tries to bust them. Yes, they do get away, but that was bad. And now, of course, they think someone must have ratted them out, and of course, they think of the one guy who's not there, who of course is the guy that
must have done that. Yeah.
That David has just gotten picked up by.
That chase scene in the opening sequence was really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
With all the bikes sort of driving over that little thing, going over the water. It was a pretty involved chase scene. I thought it looked like it's at the line, and I appreciated it.
Yeah, no, this was a very beautifully shot episode. Really excellent. It was a really great visual episode. And
the scenes of the bikes running down the road and the way they edited in to cut it, actually a sense of like they were like he's on horseback coming to like claim heads or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was just very well set up, and now David and I believe his name is Carl is the character's name, played by Paul Kozlow, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that was him. He was on Misfits of Science too. He played Skinner. There you go, man. Oh, it all comes together. See, it's all. Oh, and he was also in Kenny Rogers as the Gambler. The Adventure Continues. Okay. He played Holt in that. But yes, so he picks up David. They make it's kind of cool because he says you don't wear a helmet. He says there's no helmet law here. He says, do you mind if I wear your helmet there? And he says, no law against it either. And the second you see him put on the helmet, at some point we're going to get a Hulk bursting out of that helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although a lot of times I see things that I feel like, I'm hoping for it and it never happened. So sometimes you're like, that would be cool, but I have no hope of it actually happening.
Yeah.
And then it is.
Well, we do get that eventually, but not right away. They are riding, and a young biker, he has broken his arm in an accident because I guess they wipe out, and he gets a broken arm. No Hulk out.
And no Hulk out.
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, I guess he felt safe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it happened.
Either that or my other thought was it also has probably to do with like his emotional state on top of physical pain. So, because when he got on that bike, man, he was having a good time. Mm-hmm. He looked like he was really enjoying it. So maybe that was just like, everything's cool. Hey, we're okay. There's no enemy really or immediate threat.
Yeah, I think that's a very good analysis of it. But and this was the other thing because of course after they. He's got the arm broke, and then he tells David how you ride a bike, and doesn't do it that well, but he gets him there. They go to the doctor's office, and this was interesting because, again, this is something that brings up the opioid epidemic.
Yeah.
Because the doctor doesn't want to treat him because he says, I know his type as a biker. He's just looking to get painkillers,
Yeah.
just looking for a prescription for dope. And I just thought, wow, that's kind of cool that you get this opioid crisis that is now one of the something that people keep on pointing to as to one of the main issues underpinning, this feeling of hopelessness throughout much of the country.
Mm.
And here we are, 30 years ago, talking about it in the Hulk. So that was.
Although in today's world, that doctor would have been like, "Yeah, come on in. How much are you gonna give me from the cut?"
Yeah. Not all doctors are.
Well, I live in Ireland, so
Yeah. Well, no, actually, if that was the case, they'd just be going to a medical marijuana dispensary. But David very well puts the doctor in his place. Basically saying, I'm surprised at your ability to diagnose him as not having a broken arm without taking any X-rays. From this distance away. But so he shames the doctor into seeing him. Doctor sees him, I guess gives him the X-rays, realizes he does have a broken arm, sets it, casts it, and then David's got to drive them the rest of the way. This cuts us back to Johnny and Doc and the rest of the Barbarian biker gang, where they basically decided that Carl's the one who betrayed them, and now they're going to go chase after him. Because they know that he's going to this farm. Because he says, basically when they started to get into the gun running, he said, I don't want to do this, and I'm out. And he left the gang. Still kept his colors, though. Because he said that, even though they're having family issues, barbarians were together forever, But he's going to go up, live on a farm in a little commune upstate, and that's his plan, and the barbarians know that's where he's going, so they get on the road to catch up with him. Which I thought was really interesting because it gives us the situation where we know that there's this danger following them, but of course David and Carl do not. So they're just touring around the countryside,
right?
Enjoying enjoying the bike, and of course they go to a bar that is apparently a college bar.
Mm.
And we get more of this dreaded anti-biker prejudice. You'd think they were droids at Mos Eisley. The college boys are very derisive of the biker, but of course their girlfriend is like, I love her line there, my daddy, when I went off to college, my daddy made me promise never to drink, smoke, hang out in bars, or fool around or ride on a motorcycle. Still haven't ridden on a motorcycle. But
at least she gets the kick out of having her boyfriend, belittle other people that are, smaller than him or don't have enough of a posse than him or have less money than him.
Yeah. Yes. Well, she was obviously a bad girl. She was trouble. There's no denying that aspect of that relationship. Anyway, so as one might imagine, David is, telling, Carl, he needs to calm down. Not every slight needs to end in a fist fight, But of course, this one does.
Yeah.
Because they basically they challenge him to pool, and then basically Carl hustles them. And then Carl actually is a pretty decent guy. He says, "Tell you what, let me just take out $5 for gas money, and then we'll drink up the rest, and we'll all be friends."
Yeah, I saw that differently. I saw that like when somebody's about to hustle you in pool, they always let you win the first one, and then when you double or nothing, that's when you really get hustled. They let you have the confidence of knowing, oh, this guy's not good, I could take him. And I feel like that's what was going on there. The guy was letting him win the first one and then double or nothing. And David, for some reason, was more streetwise than this cat. And he says to him, he goes, let's go. I think we've done our job. And sometimes when you're in those situations, when you start, halfway through the con and then you don't follow through, just taking the guy's money who tried to con you, he's going to be mad. Yeah. So I thought it was more like appeasing. We don't want any trouble. I know you were trying to hustle us, but I beat you, blah, blah. That's good enough for me. I'm just going to take something for the gas and leave me alone.
Okay, yeah. So that's a different reading. It's a good one too. I liked it. I like it. So, but anyway, that wasn't enough for our jocks, who then proceed to get into a fight, which we all know how that's going to end.
Yeah.
I believe David goes behind the bar, and the Hulk comes up.
Right, and he's getting beat up, and no Hulk, no Hulk. Wait, the Hulk's like, again, we have a shy Hulk, so he's got to wait till nobody can see, and then he'll come out.
He's like Invisible Boy from Mystery Men, It's like when no one's seeing him, that's when he can use his powers. So he does, but he does Hulk out and trashes the bar, which is an awesome Hulk out because you've been wanting you always want to see a Hulk in a barroom brawl.
Yeah.
And we get that here in spades. It is a great barroom brawl Hulk scene, and of course his partner had been knocked out at that point. Although when he catches up with David after the fight, you see David, I guess, stealing clothes or something, slipping on the new boots and everything, and his friend says, "Man, you wouldn't believe it. They knocked me out real quick. I didn't see what happened to you. I was worried, man. But I came to for a little bit, man. There was this giant green guy." It's like, he goes, "Really?" And I really liked how David was really played shocked and, "What? A giant green man?"
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very nice. And then of course,
and I love how he sort of like played it on a deeper level too, where he said, "Yeah, sure, I believe you," acting like somebody who would say that while not believing them, fully completing the lie that he needs to build. I thought that was really clever.
Yes. So they get on the bike and they continue on. And then we get a nice revelation, which is that our young biker is not the snitch.
Yeah.
Because the cops do pull him in, and they basically tell him, we know the biker gang's after you. I'm guessing they must have a guy on the inside in the biker gang.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Something could be the real fake.
Yeah. And actually, he's probably just an undercover agent because they knew that they were going to be, they knew that this biker gang was getting into deeper and deeper stuff, and so they got a guy in there, that's not uncommon. Anyway, so but Carl is they give Carl the chance, hey, your testimony would be really helpful in this, but he's like no, because he does not want to be a snitch.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, kind of ironic in this, is that, he actually could get protection, but, he's not a snitch, but because he's not going to be a snitch, they still think he's a snitch, so he's still going to get, attacked.
But he's an honorable guy. It means something to him, his own opinion of himself, so he's not going to take that road.
That's the selling point. Anyway, so he has... So we then see, him and David, they're still driving up to the farm. We see that the bikers come through to the bar they just trashed, and it was kind of a weird scene in my opinion because it's like they walk in, of course, everyone because I guess they recognize he's got that the other guy was a barbarian too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's going to have so maybe these guys are here to make some more trouble.
Yeah.
And then they don't really show any real trouble. But but for whatever reason they like take down the sign that says open during remodeling.
Yeah. That was the most they could muster, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. So but
I didn't think about it before, but yeah, that is a little strange.
Yes. But anyway, so they go and then we get our big confrontation scene between the bikers and the Hulk, where basically they throw David off the bike, and that of course gives him his hulking moment.
Yeah.
And we get to see the helmet burst open and the Hulk come out of it.
That was so awesome. I wasn't expecting that, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool!"
Yeah, And we see the Hulk go to town on the biker gang, and I love Doc saying, no, not my bike, as he rows it, 500 feet, and some great feats of strength from the Hulk there.
Yeah, and I think it was a really cool thing that they did where he pulls up the tree and takes down the two bikers with a clothesline.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the times, like in other episodes, there's a lot of implied action. You don't actually get to see the point of impact or anything like that. And here, it seemed like they really set that scene up and really went ahead and did it, because where the scene cuts off with the impact to the tree, you see Lou sort of flying back a little bit too. I'd love to know the story behind that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was more of an involved scene than they usually do with the Hulk, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, they do scenes like that every so often. They actually did a very similar scene with a telephone pole a few episodes back in the Trucker episode. Never Give a Trucker an Even Break. And yeah, where basically the Hulk like straight up kills two guys.
Oh, he kills people?
Well, it's kind of implied that the two people that are chasing him maybe didn't survive. I mean, you see them lying there. But they were messed up bad. That's what I'll tell you, is they were messed up bad at the end of that.
Wow.
So but it's very similar with the but in that case, like I said, well, because they're driving a truck and he like hits the truck with the telephone pole and they go flying out of the truck. Yeah, not good. Anyway, yeah, and so after that, we do get a final farewell between Carl and David. David heading back east, he says. I'm not sure why, but I guess because he figures, McGee's going to be after the bikers now, because the bikers saw the Hulk, or something like that. That's in the official police report, I guess. Because of course, the FBI does show up and arrest everybody, and again they give Carl the option to testify, and he's like, no, man, same thing I told you before. I have no interest in testifying against my fellow barbarians,
Yeah, you already called red-handed.
Yeah, they don't need it, So that was good. And he goes off to he goes up north to the farm, and although I did like the line earlier when they're in the tent, and that he was a farm boy, that he grew up a farm boy, and all nothing he loves more than good soil and good seed, and all I could think is, man, they're going to be growing pot up at that farm, aren't they?
For sure.
I got a feeling like, yeah, I know what kind of seed you're growing there, man. I'm sure it's the best. Yeah, but they go off their separate ways. Cue Lonely Man. Final thoughts on tonight's episode, Mozz?
I loved it. I thought this was one of the better episodes, because a lot of times you get episodes where you can see that a world has been propped up just to show a Hulk. And then you get an episode like this where it's firing on all cylinders. The performances were really good. The characters were really vibrant and interesting. And the chemistry between Carl and David was so fun. It felt like a cop movie. And
well, this was sort of a Hulk does Easy Rider,
Yeah. And it's like, I feel like I knew when I started watching it that this world existed before we got here, and that it would continue on after we and David leave it. That's how how much it pulled me in.
Yeah. It was really a fantastic episode. Visually excellent, and just a great story. Some well-drawn characters, even when they kind of maybe seem a little pat, with the bikers, and and of course we learned the 99 versus the 1% biker culture, the outlaw bikers versus the guys that just want to ride and be free, man.
Yeah.
And Carl was definitely a 99%er, man. He was not a 1%er like Johnny.
Yeah.
Who definitely was a bad guy. Can tell by the shaved head. Okay, so that was a great one more great episode of the Hulk in a long line of great episodes for the Hulk. And
I think that's what makes this show so great. It's just a vehicle for telling really good stories.
Mhm.
You know, and you get so many of these varied situations, and in the end, like, storytelling is really just about hypothesizing what would people do and how would people react in different situations.
Mhm.
And this is another one of those episodes where you really got some meat with that.
Yeah. Okay. So, excellent. Mozz, how can people reach out to you, talk to you about the Hulk or anything else?
Yeah, they can email me at mozzmanzor@gmail.com. That's MOZZMANZOOR.
Okay. And of course, you can always write to me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, always be sure to follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet The Incredible Hulk, 7 o'clock on Saturdays on MeTV, at Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEssser. Look for the count them, 2 E's right there in the middle for quality.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for hulking out with us, ladies and gentlemen. Please hulk out with us again. Good night.
We hope you've enjoyed this show. This podcast is part of the 80s Reboot Overdrive channel on Southgate Media Group. You can follow us on Facebook on the 80s Reboot group page. We're also on Twitter and Tumblr at 80s Reboot. We invite you to check out all the wonderful podcasts and blogs available at southgatemediagroup.com. And thank you for reliving the 80s.